Hello and welcome to another episode of Under the Umbrella. I'm WDTN Plus meteorologist Melissa Barrington. Thank you so much for joining us today. And on this show, we like to highlight various aspects of weather, and their topics are far and wide ranging. So I try to come up with different things every single week. And this week, joining me is Jim Lane. He is a senior operation meteorologist at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Hello, Jim. How are you?
Oh, hello, Melissa. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me here to participate in your Under the Umbrella podcast.
Well, a lot of folks may not even realize that Wright-Pat has their own meteorological division. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yes, I sure can. I'll tell you a little bit about the weather operations at Wright-Pat, and I'll speak specifically about what my team does. There are actually 4 separate weather organizations on base. Altogether, there's probably about 50 meteorologists on base. One of the teams there's a small team of functional managers, functional manager meteorologists who oversee the manpower, equipment, budget, and operational readiness, deployments, and policy for 8 different units across the United States. That's one of the teams. That's a small team. There's a team of advanced degree meteorologists who work with and assist researchers who together evaluate the impacts of weather on things like U.S. Air Force aircraft, parts, and equipment. And then there's the Air Force Institute of Technology. You may have heard of that, AFIT. Mm-hmm. It's a postgraduate institution. It's a provider of professional and continuing education for the United States Air Force. They have a basic meteorology program. Has about 15 students in it currently. I have met them. I have briefed them a couple of times. They're newly commissioned officers with STEM undergraduate degrees, studying, actually getting their meteorology advanced, their graduate degree in atmospheric sciences, meeting the requirements of the U.S. government and the World Meteorological Organization to become forecasters. Then there's my team. We are the only operational weather flight at Wright-Pat. We're doing day-to-day weather forecasting and observing. We've actually the weather flight at Wright-Pat has been an active component since March of 1939.
Oh, wow. And I put up some video here. This is of your offices.
That is correct. That's one of my forecasters, Mike Main, sitting at my lead forecaster desk there. 2 positions. I have 2 forecasters on shift 24/7, 365. Mm-hmm. We take observations that feed into that World Meteorological Organization database that I talked about. That is what Mr. Main is sitting there doing. He's my lead forecaster. He's taking observations, and he's also my briefer, handles all my aircraft briefings, air crew briefings. We have a customer on base. There's one of our customers right there that we're briefing. And then I have another forecaster sitting in a cubicle in the office, and he is my TAF writer. TAF is a terminal aviation forecast. There's an example of it in the bottom left.
Yep.
And it is in aviation code. We put 3 of those out a day. They're valid for 30 hours, and we amend those as necessary. There's some data coming off the airfield on our observation. We try and leverage data. We're a very data-centric organization. Try and leverage it as much as we can. But like I said, the weather flight has been active at Wright-Pat since 1939. That equates to 86 years or 344 seasons of summer, fall, winter, and spring weather. In comparison, the National Weather Service was instituted in October of 1970, although there has been a collective weather service serving the entire United States since 1890. So the operational weather flight at Wright-Pat is currently a contract weather organization. Mm-hmm. We have been contracted out since January 1st of 2003. I actually have been there since January 1st of 2003.
Okay.
I retired out of the Indiana Air National Guard while I was at Wright-Pat, so I have 22 years of Air Force weather service already behind me, and I'm nearing the end of this second career at Wright-Pat.
Is everybody there enlisted or are they civilian?
So good question. I have a combination of everyone there was enlisted at some time in their career, including myself.
Okay.
I was enlisted for 10 years, and then I had an opportunity to return to school, finish my meteorology degree. I had a degree pursuit at one time, but it was in agribusiness management. I come from a large farm in southern Indiana, and I returned to school to Central Michigan University and completed my meteorology program, and then I got commissioned and became an officer. So I'm the only retired officer in the group. I do have, of the 12 of us, I have 7 Air Force retired people, mostly senior non-commissioned officers, and then myself. I do have one of those retired individuals is a Marine Corps gunnery master sergeant. So Sam Walker is his name. Sam's a great individual. So of the Department of Defense services, the Marines do weather, the Navy does weather, the Air Force does weather, the Coast Guard does not do weather. The Marines handle the weather for them. Well, actually, the Coast Guard does have some meteorologists, but the Marines handle a lot of their information. The Army does not have meteorologists. Since the Air Force at one time was part of the Army Corps, when they split away, it's the Air Force that needed meteorologists. The Army didn't. So the Air Force provides that service back to the Army. So of the 12 individuals I have, almost all of us have been Army support most of our career. I do have a couple guys that were not Army support. They were only Air Force their entire career, but typically in the Air Force pipeline, dual roles, Army and Air Force, if you get onto the Army side, you tend to stay there because they invest a lot of resources in you to get you tactically trained and tactically proficient.
Is there differences in the way that they train you then based on which branch of the military that you're doing for weather?
Not as far as the weather training goes. The weather, basic meteorology is the same whether you're doing it for, the Army for the most part is just looking at 10,000 feet and below, especially ground operations.
Yep.
Whereas the Air Force looks from the mud to the sun, as we say it. So the dynamics are the same. It's just how you apply it.
Okay.
So I mentioned I have 7 retired individuals. The other 5 are separated first-term or second-term airmen. What that means is after their initial 4 or 6-year enlistment was up, 3 of the 5 chose to re-enlist. They had 4-year enlistments, and they chose to enlist again for another 4 years, and then they separated, and I was able to hire them. And then I have 2 guys that just separated after their first term, and those were 6-year enlistments, and they separated after that.
So
and I picked them up.
Did most of these folks, did they get their meteorology training then from the government through a branch of the service, or do you have a mixture where some went and got a meteorology degree and then decided to join, or vice versa? I mean, you went after partially.
I did.
So
I have a couple. I have of the 12 of us, I probably have 4 degreed individuals. I'm the only one with a meteorology degree. I do have guys that have taken several meteorology classes. Most of those classes came during their military career. They leveraged some of their educational benefits to finish their bachelor degree. None of them were meteorology. I have them across the board, but I'm the only one with a dynamic background.
Okay, well,
in the group.
Because I remember when I went to school, there was a guy that was like in my class, and he decided to go into the military afterwards, but they said like, well, even though he had a degree, they had to make sure that they would still accept him into the program. It's not a guarantee that you're going to be a meteorologist if you join the service, at least at that time. I don't know if that's true nowadays.
It's similar now. However, the core meteorology programs, very heavy in math.
Oh, yeah.
Math and physics. And typically, if you're going to be in those type of STEM classes, you're probably going to follow on to a STEM-related field within one of the services.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because if there's anyone who's out there who's thinking about, whether they should do military or going to college for meteorology, there's some options there. Because if you sign up for the military and you say, I don't know, can you say that you want to be a meteorologist?
You can. You can. Or you can just not say at all.
Okay.
And then they're going to give you some choices.
Right.
And they're probably going to give you choices into positions they need to fill first.
Right.
But
Okay.
they may have others. And I mentioned earlier, I talked a little bit about the Air Force Institute of Technology
Yep.
and AFET at Wright-Pat.
Yep.
So what AFET is doing is it is taking commissioned officers who have gone through ROTC programs at educational programs across the country, and those individuals were in a STEM path. Okay, so they are science based. However, they didn't know what they wanted to do.
Yep.
And what AFET is doing is it is taking these individuals and then teaching them meteorology. So they can go on. They are going to be very successful, hopefully very successful meteorologists in their career. They just didn't choose to study that dynamic at the university they were at.
Well,
So
not
they're-
everyone knows
Right.
exactly what they want to do. So, I mean, they're just showing them other options.
We host a lot of tour groups out at Wright-Pat. Everything from middle school to high school to various ROTC programs. I actually have 3 guys that will even go out into elementary schools across the Greater Dayton area. It's primarily second graders and fifth graders that are getting an introduction to meteorology. Some of them are getting some basics on cloud development, cloud formations, the state of the sky. Some are taking some limited observations. We'll go out and do presentations at elementary schools. We get a lot of young, motivated. In fact, there's a couple that have reached out to me right now that are middle schoolers, and they want to get into meteorology. I would encourage anyone that has any desire to do that. There are avenues to do that multiple ways. I mentioned earlier the service, everybody except the Army has meteorologists on board. I think it's a great program if somebody wants to come into the Department of Defense, into the service, join one of the military, become a military officer, or even an enlisted person and get into weather. There's all kinds of avenues for that.
Oh, there's so many different options, and I would like to hear more of those options and a lot more of what you have to say, but we would like to take a quick break, and we will be right back with more Under the Umbrella with Jim Lane from Wright-Pat Air Force Base. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to Under the Umbrella. We are talking today to Jim Lane, who is a meteorologist at Wright-Pat Air Force Base. And we've been talking about all different kinds of things about the weather and how to get involved in the military and being a meteorologist. And what I'd like to talk about starting for the second half is most people are used to listening to the forecast for the weather, but you do a different type of forecasting. It's called aviation forecasting, and it's very specialized. Can you tell me more about what your forecasters do and what's the difference between what I do and what you guys do?
Yes, I sure can, Melissa. So you mentioned it already. Aviation forecasting is much more specific. It includes accurately predicting weather conditions that are paramount to flight safety. Okay, I mentioned that we issue 3 terminal area forecasts daily, valid out to 30 hours. We break those up into various line items when we expect conditions to change that are going to impact aviation operations. Impactors would be ceilings, things like a broken to overcast deck at a certain layer, visibility restrictions. Okay, really, there's 2 types of there's instrument flight rules and visual flight rules that allow aviators to fly across the country, depending on the type of aircraft and the type of rating, the qualifications the pilot has. He can fly under visual flight rules or instrument flight rules. We sort of know all those rules, and weather impacts each of those very dynamically. So aviation forecasting considers numerous weather phenomena, both at the surface and aloft. Okay, things like turbulence, icing, thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are significant impactors to aviation operations. Well, they're significant. They can be significant impactors to everyone on the ground as well.
Yep.
Winds aloft are very critical, very crucial. Crews have to plan the amount of fuel they have. They have to plan routes they take in the air. There are air routes very similar to highways that exist in the air. They have to adhere to those. So they need to know winds at those levels. Flight level temperatures. We even do some solar impacts. We are not solar forecasters, okay? Just like we're not tropical forecasters. There are forecasters with specialized degrees, specialized training that are tropical forecasters out there that work at the National Hurricane Center, or the military has tropical forecasters as well. My team, we are aware of those, okay, just like we are not solar forecasters either, but we have to be aware of the products that those put out because those could impact, especially solar activity can impact communications, and communications are critical to aviation safety. So not only are we looking at phenomena aloft, we're also looking at phenomena at the surface, things like visibility, all restrictors to visibility, things like rain, snow, fog. We're looking at local winds at the surface, temperature, humidity, and barometric pressure. This is a good time to interject personal opinion into forecasting. I believe and you might agree with me too, two of the most challenging phenomena that forecasters tend to deal with over time are fog.
Oh.
When is fog going to set up? How dense is it going to be?
Yep.
Is it just going to be low-lying? Is it going to be shallow ground fog? Or is it going to take over a large area? A lot of factors go into that, and the development of fog and the dissipation of fog. So fog forecasting is a challenge for us.
Okay.
The other is snow. Snow is a very dynamic phenomena. We see snow challenges here across the Miami Valley when wintertime comes because even the slightest variable can change snow impacts and snow amounts, snowfall rates. It's not uncommon for us to see varying snow amounts here across the Miami Valley because of some of the dynamics associated with the atmosphere or dynamics associated with the topography here.
I was going to say
area.
the terrain, yeah.
Yep.
And the one thing that you're talking about here, like if we'll use snow as the example, because like when we're forecasting snow, we have like less than 20 counties and we're trying to figure it out how it's going to vary over all of these different counties. The National Weather Service, in case folks don't know, they have 56 different counties that they are forecasting the snow for. But you, and folks in Beaver Creek may not know this, you guys have a very specialized area to try to get that snow or any of these forecasting points just in your little area. Please explain more about what your forecast coverage area is versus like what I'm looking at versus what the National Weather Service is. It's very specialized for you.
Yep. Hey, let's just talk a little bit about your area and the Wilmington's coverage area as well. Wilmington does forecast for a very large area here in southwestern Ohio. Not only that, but they also forecast for 11 counties in northern Kentucky and 7 counties in southeastern Indiana. I mentioned it earlier, the entire Miami Valley can have significant weather changes across its geography.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything from north, like St. Mary's or Wapakoneta, clear down to Owenton or Maysville, Kentucky. Those are 165 miles apart.
Yeah.
And that is the National Weather Service's coverage area. Fortunately for my team, Wright-Pat, our terminal area forecast is designed for a 5 nautical mile concentric circle around the airfield.
See, I don't know if you have it worse. I think that's almost harder than doing the big general area. When you're talking about 5, you said 5 nautical miles?
Yeah, 5 nautical miles.
That to me is really micrometeorology.
It is. It is. Now, because some of the facilities that are at Wright-Pat and because of some OSHA guidance, I'm able to extend that out to 10 nautical miles with regards to lightning watches, lightning warnings, and verification of some of that stuff. A 10 nautical mile circle around Wright-Pat includes Fairborn, Wright State, Beaver Creek, Riverside, Trotwood, Kettering, even into Dayton. So while our focus is that 5 nautical mile circle, you can bet that I am looking I have a couple of customers that have weather impacts that we issue some products for out to 50 nautical miles. So we're looking everywhere. And with just a few clicks of the mouse, I can forecast for anywhere in the world. And we do have some flights that do fly transatlantic, and they're looking for weather along that entire route. So even though my focus is 5 nautical miles, we're looking out over the entire world.
And being with the Air Force, you also have a unique thing. Like most people get their weather warnings from the National Weather Service. I mean, even us, we issue what the National Weather Service puts out. But your group is special in that you can put out your own warnings. Is that correct?
That is correct. I actually have, believe it or not, 33 total weather watches, warnings, and advisories that we issue for Wright-Pat. Things like 25-knot wind advisory. All of those 33, I have a customer requirement that they need alerted for some type of atmospheric phenomena because it's going to impact their operations. So it is customer support that, as well as Air Force instruction that guides what we do. But that little verification ring of 5 nautical miles, I'm trying to hit inside of that. So
that's tough.
It is. It is tough.
It's very specialized.
There will be times we issue a lot of the same weather watches and weather warnings that the National Weather Service does. We have a few that are unique to them, and I just want to point out to people that should the National Weather Service have a watch or a warning, let's just talk about severe weather.
Yep.
Let's talk about severe thunderstorms and or tornadoes.
Correct.
There have been instances in the past, very few instances, where I have had a tornado warning out and the National Weather Service has not yet. Trust me, they're going to very quickly.
I think Brian Davis has even mentioned that a few
Yes,
times.
he has.
He's well aware of that. Yes.
Yep. My forecasters are interrogating the radar just like the National Weather Service is. We're actually using the same product suites to interrogate the weather radar. The National Weather Service is the owner of the only dual-pole Doppler radar facility here in the Miami Valley. The terminal radar at Dayton International Airport can also do some weather interrogation, and we have access to that as well. But I'm just looking at that little bitty dot in the middle of everybody's. If there's a storm that we get a signature on that is going to impact Wright-Pat, I'm going to issue. I can only think of 2 occurrences where we've been a little bit ahead of the National Weather Service. Usually they follow up right away because we collab with them continually. We have access to a service where we're chatting with them continually. Actually, you have access to that as well. I've seen you on that.
Yep.
You
Weather
as well,
chat,
and
yep.
Brian.
Yep.
Seen you in there. There will also be times. The counter to that, the opposite side of that coin, is where the National Weather Service, because of that large area, 165-mile difference from north to south, and it actually equates to about 140 miles east to west, where they will have a weather watch or a weather warning out, yet I will not.
Right.
And we see more instances of that because there's a good chance that what they have a product out for is going to occur in that geographical area, but it may not within my little 5-mile or 10 nautical mile circle. We see more instances of that.
It's been very interesting talking to you today. I mean, all this information has just been really fascinating, and hopefully folks here at home have been able to get a sneak peek of what it's like to be a meteorologist in the U.S. Air Force. I would like to thank Jim very much for joining me today, and thank everyone else for joining us on Under the Umbrella for this edition. If you have any other topics that you might be interested in, you can contact me at undertheumbrella@wdtn.com. Have a great day.